Hello and welcome to episode number 8 of the Matt Belair podcast show. Have you ever heard of the book Think and Grow Rich? A book that has sold over 100 million copies worldwide. Have you ever wondered if there was a process you could follow to achieve more success in your life? In today's episode, we have an incredible guest that is going to share his wisdom and tried and tested principles for achieving massive success. He's been acknowledged as a creative and expressive mind, consciously equipped to contribute his various skills to the current wave of self-development that has swept through modern-day culture. He is a public speaker that fuses music and motivational speaking at his acclaimed performance seminars and edutainment workshops. In 2014, he won first place at the Dynamo public speaking competition for his I'm Possible speech, the 10 essentials for reaching your maximum potential. Since then, he has been speaking at schools, corporate offices, and at seminars across Canada, spreading his empowering knowledge. He has worked closely with the Think and Grow Rich Institute to develop the infrastructure that has now provided Canadians with access to learn how to apply Napoleon Hill's practical philosophy of success. He is the creator of the incredible I'm Possible performance seminar and is the operations manager for the Think and Grow Rich Institute. Welcome to the show, Marcos Mendoza.
Thank you.
Man.
Your intro is spectacular. I'm just, like really, I'm accomplishing things. That's awesome. It's awesome. It's great.
Yeah, it's so much to get through. I even had to condense a little bit. Like you're doing a lot of things, and it's incredible, man. You're on a ride, and yeah, it's amazing to watch. I'm excited to share your wisdom today.
Thank you. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. I love the vibe, love the energy. From the moment we met to this moment right now, it's been an abundance of just pleasure and joy to just share the space with you. So I'm really happy to be here.
Oh man, yeah, you too, man. It's so good. So for people who don't know you, I guess, why don't you just tell them a little bit about your story, like, where you came from and how you got here, because that in itself is incredibly inspiring.
It's really funny, that question, because I had that conversation with my father a couple of weeks back, because I said, Dad, I don't have a tragic story or anything super empowering of, some survival or anything of that sort, and I found myself comparing to other people's stories, and it was essentially killing my self-confidence and killing my ability to acknowledge myself for how I've managed to get to where I am today. And my dad said to me, think about it this way: if your story is common, then that means that there's probably hundreds of millions of people that have common stories as well. And your common story of how you've managed to get through life to accomplish and manifest and realize your ideas and your dreams, there's a lot of people that can relate to that commonality as well. Not everybody has to relate to a survival story. I was listening to the other day about a gentleman who got stuck. He went for a walk, he went for a hike, got stuck between two rocks, had to cut off his arm with a pocket knife so that he can drop from between the two rocks and then, find his way back to civilization, and then live to tell the tale. When you compare yourself to extremities like that, you got nothing. It's like, how do you follow up with that, right? So with my experience, I was just raised into a wonderful family business, carpenters, and I was trained on how to become a finished carpenter. And I worked with my father very closely for many years. And although I was comfortable and I had a wonderful safety net, I found very early on that safety net was actually my clutch. It was my crutch as well. It was something that I could always fall on because I knew that financially things would always be settled and okay. And lifestyle design could be managed because I had, that privilege of being the boss's son. And I didn't want to be under that kind of I didn't want to be under that shadow. I didn't want to be under that responsibility any longer because I've always known that I had higher aspirations and my imagination has always been flying through, the realms of discovery. And, so I've always been a creative mind. And through my creativity, I developed my lyricism, which I was rapping for 15 years. And then, I taught myself how to play the piano. And then I started combining lyricism with piano and combining the two with public speaking. And then I created that combination, which turned out to be my niche specialty, which is live music, visual arts, dance, choreography, public speaking, all occurring simultaneously in the event that you mentioned in the bio there, which is the I'm Possible Performance Seminar. So, you know, it started as a come up of essentially being guarded and protected to essentially winning that competition, realizing and seeing right before my eyes the standing ovations, the tears, the applause, and the impact that my intention had on people. And I decided literally 2 days later, that's it. I quit my job, took out my savings, and went for the whole entrepreneurial route, and that's how it all got started.
Nice, man. Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, and reading in the bio, I made sure I pronounced it clearly. You call it edutainment, and that's so clever because just in how people learn. You know, you learn better if you're engaged, first of all. So when you go to something that you've created, it's not like, you know, you get your pen and paper out, which is a part of it. But it's this whole spectacular, you know, one of a kind experiences. So you're absorbing the information. In NLP, they'll call it accelerated learning techniques, anything you can do to keep the audience engaged. So you just go full on, and it's like this amazing educational entertainment experience, you know. So the fact that, you know, I guess, what was your inspiration to do that? Just naturally who you are, I guess.
You nailed it though, like, and it's so perfect. And the term edutainment was actually coined by KRS-One. And he wrote it. The first time I discovered the term was in the Gospel of Hip Hop. And that book is just a masterpiece on its own. You would think it's all about hip hop, and although it's a lot of it has so much to do with philosophy. It's just an incredible body of work, and that's when I was inspired to say, wow, this resonates really well with me, because, you know, I lead, I host, and I speak at seminars, but try to catch me sitting in a seminar, it's not going to happen. You know, I can't just sit there and watch. The first 15, 20 minutes of inspiration that starts to kick in, I'm like, I can't sit here and listen to another 2 hours of this guy talk. I need to go out and live it. I need to go out and do it, or I need to somehow get backstage and start helping out or participating. And this is how I respond and function at these events. I have to somehow be involved. So the edutainment factor of it was so that my contribution to the edutainment factor of it was so that I can give the audiences that come to our events the experience that I feel, and avoid that experience of the boredom or their minds drift or they check their phone. You know, I want to give them that kind of experience where they're constantly engaged. And the sole purpose of it is to tap into people's emotional intelligence, specifically because I feel that when you're emotionally charged, you start to generate your motives. And according to the philosophy by Napoleon Hill, you know, your desires are generated through your motives. And, you know, there's 10 basic motives. And the number one motive of all the motives is love. That's the number one motive, you know, and people use the word motivation very freely in the world, but they often forget that motivation is derived from an actual motive, something that moves you, right? What moves you more than love, right? Love is the ultimate source of communication, the ultimate source of, it's the ultimate language. And you combine music, the language of the universe. From Nico Sofianos, I learned universe, one song. The universe is just one song playing, you know, we can say at 432 hertz, resonating at a frequency that is tapping into the entire galaxy, and it's playing one song constantly while it's resonating at an energy that, I don't want to go too deep, but it's resonating. The universe is speaking this language, and we're all riding that wave. So when we tap in, you know, through meditation, through love, through exercise, through inspiration, through knowledge, when we tap in and we're in alignment and we ride that wave, we're literally tapping into source, that one song, that one language, that one tune that is keeping the whole world in balance. And that's when miracles start to occur, if you want to look at it like that. So the edutainment factor was derived from that philosophy and that theory that I've generated in my mind, and that's how I've come to understand it. So getting people to tap in, you know, the performance seminars have the violin, and they have the piano, and they have the guitars, and they have the flutes, and they have the drums, and, you know, and they have the visuals, and then the dancers, and then the speaking, and the passion, the purpose, intention, the crowd participation. It's always done in theatrical environments, so you have the whole lights, camera, action experience. It's this complete embodiment of experience. So truly, the way that it was all created was, all my life, everybody's been telling me, you got to choose one thing. Okay, I get it. You're a great lyricist. I get it. You're a great piano player. I get it. You're a great public speaker. I get it. You're a carpenter. I get you want this. I get you want. You got to choose one. And I was like, I'm ambitious enough that I can sustain all of this talent. I can sustain all of this ability simultaneously. I just got to figure out the platform, right? So I watched Blue Man Group, boom, wrote it down. I watched the Charlie Chaplin speech from The Great Dictator, boom, write it down. I tapped into all types of sources of information, wrote it all down on a list and said, I'm going to create an event that's going to combine all of these sources of inspiration: martial arts, kung fu, tai chi, breakdancing, hip hop, jazz, classical, everything. I combined all of the things that I love the most in the world that inspire me. I wrote it on a list, and at the top I wrote, this is a performance seminar. And I said, this is the platform that I'm going to generate so that I can do all of the things that I love to do the most, which involves reading and writing as well, simultaneously, and put together a production where people are going to leave crying, laughing, dancing, angry, frustrated, and they're going to go through this whirlwind of emotions, so that they look to the person to their left and look to the person to their right, and they're just like in the middle of it, stand up and say, give me a hug. You know, that was the vision of it all. The vision of it all was to get people to respond to that emotional frequency that is in them, but they suppress because of the fear that they feel because of the unknown circumstances based on how other people perceive them. So coming to these events, you essentially generate a mind and a spirit that is like Teflon, where everything slides off of you. You're unbreakable, untouchable, and you're just completely filled with this energy that provides you with this source power to truly be your best self in the present moment, and happy to be where you are in that moment, sitting in that chair, standing up in that seat, whatever it is you're doing, you're experiencing it based on all the good things that your heart, mind, and spirit are telling you that you should be allowed to feel. So that was the whole purpose of it all.
Man, dude, that's just straight up magic. And there's so much in there I wanted to talk about. You know, the first thing was just your intention of overall love. You know, like, this is where I come from. I want to give people that experience. So, you know, with you pursuing, you know, going ahead and saying, this is what I want to do. I don't want to just do one thing. If I go and I run a seminar, then that's not my thing. And if I'm just maybe, you know, doing lyrics or rapping, like, that's not really my thing. And so you formulated and had the courage to go forward to create your own thing that was unique. And it's really inspiring, right? You make your own mold. And I think that a lot of people can really learn from that, you know, finding their own way. You know, you took everything and you made it your own. That's, you know, one of Bruce Lee's big philosophies. He's like, just make it your own. If it works for you, then great. It might not work for someone else, but make it your own at the end of the day. And it sounds like an incredible experience. And you've done one, right?
I've done 6.
You've done 6. Oh, okay. I thought the first one is in 2014.
The first one, I think, was 2013. You know, they started off small. It was about 20 people, then 40 people, then 30 people, then 50 people, then 167 people, and then like it just grew and grew. And the last one was 472.
Holy crap! Okay, yeah, I was just reading the bio. I thought it was one from what you recently did with Teresa and getting everyone. My kind of point was I wanted to talk a little bit about that fear going forward and like having this creative endeavor in your mind and going from not creating it and seeing something brand new to, you know, what gave you the drive, or what would you recommend for someone who's like, you know, whether they just want to write a book, or they're an artist, or they are a musician or something, and they get to the point where they're ready to create it, but you get that fear. And your story for how you just kind of went forward and like, I'm going to do this. Because a lot of people will just pull shoot right before they get there, you know? So you had the courage and tenacity and will to make your first one, because that's the hardest one, is your first one. It's not, you know, once it's rolling, everybody sees this amazing experience and this thing that after, you know, 5 or 10 times has been created how you imagined it. But the first one, and you know, is something, and you build from there. So just wondering if you could speak on that a little bit.
Absolutely. And I'm actually going to draw it out for you because it's really simple. Okay. You see the triangle here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you this because I love the question. I love the question specifically because it seems to be the question that everybody asks themselves before they start anything, right? And the solution to that question, the answer to that question, or the solution to that conflict that gets subconsciously created for most people, is so basic, okay? I'm just going to draw it out because a lot of people are visual learners, right? So let's just pretend, okay, so you have your triangle, right? See that?
Yep, gotcha.
D, you got your F, and you got your A, okay? See that?
Yep, following along, yep.
So with any idea, okay, let's say we talk about motive again. With any idea, there's got to be a motive to create an idea. There's always some sort of motive, whether it's conscious or subconscious. There's always a motive. The motive of producing this interview came from love. It came from the intention of providing knowledge, source knowledge from individuals that you've met along your journey that you feel that are, you know, intriguing enough to share who they are with the rest of the world, with your audience, because you're a person of service, right?
Yeah.
So there's a desire. The motive was love. The motive was knowledge. The motive was recognition of what's out there, you know, essentially, right? Let's just say that, right?
Totally,
so,
yeah.
Because there's a motive, you now have, desire. Okay?
Perfect, yep.
With desire, you then think about how much you want that, how important it is to you, and you develop a, you know the answer, a
plan. Burning desire, nice.
Burning desire. You want it so bad, okay? So bad. Now, here's the thing with most people. Most people want things in life, and it's great to want things in life, but simply wanting a car doesn't get you a car. But wanting a car so bad that it's burning, you must have this. Everybody gets their must, always. Your shoulds, not so much. I should get that. I should do that. I should go there. Your shoulds, not so much. Your must, absolutely. I must do this is concrete. It's solid. You must get it because it's a must. It's your must. You always get your must. Most people, when they desire something, all they do is take action immediately, right? But then along the way, they find all the hows that don't work for them, okay? Their how being, how am I going to get the money? How am I going to find the time? How am I going to get away from work? How am I going to balance? How? How is the killer of all dreams. What is the potential answer and solution to all of your challenges? Meaning, what can I do now to create the space or opportunity to be able to discover the solution that I need to cultivate in order to make my desire come to life, right? So out of that what comes your action. The answer to your question is action. But in order to take action, there has to be purpose. There has to be purpose behind your action, or else your action is just, there's no outcome. You have to imagine the advantages, the benefits, and the outcomes of what's going to come from the action that you take. Now, here's the missing step right here. And this is what I was missing. Well, I wasn't missing it. I just didn't even know how to practice it. And this is what I learned recently with the mentors at Think and Grow Rich was faith. Now, I'm not talking about religious faith, okay? I'm not talking about religious faith. I'm talking about applied faith. Here's something very quick and simple. When you have a desire to get something and you know that you must take action and you have faith that it's going to work out, you can't have faith but think that it's not going to work out. Cancels it out. Much like it's called phase cancellation. When two waves, imagine two sine waves in an audio recording play at the same time, it cancels it out. Phase cancellation, because you're running two of the same frequencies through the same frequency, two of the same frequencies resonating at the same vibe, and it just cancels it out. What do you get? You get distortion, right? So you can't have fear, doubt, or suspicion before you take action. Okay? You can't take action. You can't take action, but have faith that it's potentially not going to work out. You got your burning desire. You cancel out your fears, doubt, and suspicion. Okay? Most people are afraid that things are not going to work in their favor as they apply faith into the potential outcome of their incredible, manifestations. Like, I'm going to manifest $10 million in the next year, but I really hope that things don't go bad. You know, they cancel it out with the doubt, the fear, the worry, the anxiety, fear, doubt, and suspicion. Right?
Yep.
You can apply fear, doubt, and suspicion into applied faith, but it's going to cancel it out 99.9% of the time. So the answer to your question is take relentless, persistent action immediately, because your burning desire is so important. It's so strong. You must have this. It's something that you know is so compelling. You can't eat, can't sleep. You just want to work. You just want to build. You just want to talk. You just want to share. You just want to give. And out of that desire comes action. Faith is in the middle of all that. But guess what? The faith is what sustains it all as you're taking action. People forget that. People forget that faith is that powerful. The faith, imagine what faith does. Faith completely cancels out the possibility of failure if you allow it to. Faith gives you that guidance. Faith gives you that foundation, the sustainability of knowing that your ideas are going to work out because you're worthy of having your ideas work out. Now, according to the Institute, success is defined as changing the circumstances in your life without violating the rights of others. What does that mean? It means that your successful outcomes have to be based on truth and justice. So if you're out there hurting other people and you're becoming quote unquote successful at it, it's not going to last. Okay. One of the most beautiful things that you can create in your life is a noble life. A noble life. Be a good person. Do good unto others as you wish to be done unto yourself. Right? Applied faith gives you that kind of freedom of mind. So desire, faith, action. It doesn't have to go in that order. Sometimes you just take action and you figure out that you're passionate about something along the way, and then you'd start to apply faith that you keep it sustained. It can work that way as well. But according to the philosophy, the starting point of all achievement is a definiteness of purpose, which is your burning desire.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, thank you so much. And I love how you broke it down, got the whiteboard action. It's sweet, dude. And it's a simple process, and faith in what you're talking about is so massive. Michael Oze, who I mentored under, still law of attraction principles, they're pretty much the same across the board. And in that teaching, it says 100% desire plus 100% doubt equals 0 manifestation. 100% desire with 100% belief. Well, it's coming like a rocket ship. And another expression that's in the book is let the law of attraction figure it out, or let the universe figure it out. And if you talk to anybody who's built a successful business, they were like, you never know. You can't know everything. And even if you had this structured plan of, 1 through 20, half of them are going to landmine on you. And then you're going to have to reroute it. And everyone will say like, it came to me in the most peculiar way, and in a way that I would have never imagined it, because they had faith. And that's where the bigger picture is, where you're basically putting it to the universe or your higher power or the thing that grows the trees and shines the sun, or however you want to call it. But it's faith, and it's also faith in yourself, because the beginning part is that burning desire. You find that first, because then that's your thing, and that's probably the thing you're most afraid to do. And I'm reading the Art of War, or no, the War of Art right now, and it just talks about resistance. So beautiful. Yeah, it's so simple and so powerful and so beautiful. And it's just like, the more you have resistance, the more you can be sure that's your thing, because you're identifying once you create it. So if it fails, you're like, oh my God, I'm a failure. My creation is terrible. But it's the deepest sense of you. So find that first, and then start taking action, and don't worry about how it's going to get done. Keep painting that picture
with the suggestion
and moving forward. So yeah, man, I love it.
Pressfield, when I was stuck in that construction phase, trying to figure out what I wanted, I read The War of Art, searching for so much. I was searching for a way out of that job, out of that career, and it was by reading The War of Art. And it was because being a creative mind, ideas are just literally bellowing out of you at all times, and focusing on one idea is so challenging, and manifesting the most abundance out of every idea, and turning it into monetary equivalents, it's very challenging. And I realized by reading Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art that it was resistance. And I think there's a quote in there, I don't know the quote exactly, but it's, the challenge is not writing. The challenge is sitting down to write.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
You want to write. For example, I'm working on 2 novels right now, and one of them is up to, almost 2,000 pages, right? And I had a good go at it for like 7 months, and then I just stopped when I realized, okay, this is not even going to be a trilogy. This is going to be a 6-part series. And the overwhelming of that just stopped me, because it was like, okay, where am I going to find the time? Am I desired enough? Is the motive strong enough? And now I can think back. But at the time, I was like, okay, I'm just going to stop this. Same with the second novel. I stopped because as beautiful as the novel is, I thought to myself, what am I doing writing 2 novels? Right? So then again, based on that quote, it's like the challenge is not the writing itself. The challenge is sitting down to write. Can you get all of this, onto here, effectively? Can you, with the balance of everything else? Is this your priority? Is this idea of publishing a book your burning desire, your definiteness of purpose? No, it's not. So I lost my motive to do it. I'm sure I'll get it done someday. I have these visualizations that I'm gonna, retire probably this year in Maldives for 3-4 months, just retire from everything and just write in one of those little cabins with the little see-through glass floors, and bring my piano, my keyboard, and just write.
Wow.
Then it's the purpose-driven mentality. The motive is there, right? Because I've accomplished something, and I feel like I need to escape what I'm currently in, so that much like what you're perhaps doing right now while you're globetrotting, and you're in France building, your business and your company and your life, right? That's something that I aspire to do very soon as well. So yeah, again, back to that motive. And I love that you mentioned Stephen Pressfield again, because I had a moment. I recall very vividly sitting on my couch. I caught a cold. I stayed home from work. My father came home. He said, "What are you reading?" I said, The War of Art. It's like, "Dad, I think I figured it out why I'm so anxious. It's because I live with resistance. Everything is resistance. Everything is pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling." That was about 5 years ago. Like pushing and pulling. Doubt, worry, fear, anxiety, jealousy, envy, anger. Whoa. Imagine the effect that that's having on your subconscious. One of the things we talk about in the level 1 course is the conscious and subconscious. And a quick analogy is, your conscious perceives the world based on your 5 senses. Your subconscious perceives the world based on the thoughts that you filter through from your conscious of how you perceive the messages, of how you interpret the world. We have a filter between our conscious and our subconscious. That filter can either be dirty or clean. If it's dirty, it's probably filled with a lot of nasty, negative beliefs. So you perceive the wars in the world and you think the world's going to shit. So negative belief. You know what I mean? It goes straight to your subconscious. Your subconscious responds to your emotions, and emotionally, it keeps you down. Emotionally, you're not resonating at a frequency of love. Perhaps you're resonating at a frequency of love because you aspire to heal the world, but it's coming out of fear. It came from a source of pain, which you can actually transform that into a fullness and a wholeness of love, but it's going to take mental conditioning of how you perceive the world on the conscious level. We aspire to have individuals start to think with their subconscious, rather than their conscious, because you perceive the world on a conscious level and everything just slaps you. There's so much influence around you. But when you're solid subconsciously and you know that you're filtering only thoughts that are working in your favor and generating abundance and prosperity and love and peace and harmony, then your subconscious only knows how to receive and respond to those thoughts. So it's our responsibility to take the conscious living and start to filter only positive thoughts. Now, the word positivity has been thrown around so much that it's, think positive. Thinking positive it's not so simple. Receive positive out of doubt as well. Somebody's being mean to you. Somebody's being angry with you. Receive them with love. Receive them with a solution-based thought. Receive them with harmony. The world is in turmoil around you based on the circumstances that by choice you put yourself in most of the time. If you're carrying a machine gun and there's somebody shooting at you, you're not going to be like, it's all good, it's all love, right? You got to blend to your circumstances. But internally, how you perceive it based on what your action is going to create in terms of a circumstance, you can do that so that at least you have enough peace of mind. And I'm talking peace of mind, knowing that the actions that you had to take are in alignment with your core desires, with your core beliefs. So your subconscious can rest easy. Because much like they say, your subconscious doesn't know the difference between a penny and a million. It doesn't know. Your subconscious responds it's a receiving station. It just responds and sends out waves. That's why whenever you see these graphics or these drawings of, thoughts entering your brain, and then you see the waves, poof, they come out of you. It's because it's a receiving station and you're sending out. Anyways, I'm talking a lot. I get really excited when I start talking about this stuff.
No, so, I love it, man. You brought up so many points, and I'm just trying to like filter through everything that I wanted to acknowledge, because you're spot on. The first thing that I was thinking about is when I went to Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's showing people through meditation. He wrote "You Are the Placebo," and people are curing themselves of cancer and all these different things through simple meditation. But in the book, it says you have 70 to 90,000 thoughts a day. So what you're talking is about is most people are coming in and the thoughts are just going, and they have no part of them that's registering what they're thinking. So the thought comes in, and then they experience the emotion, send the signal. They don't have this filtered gap, right? They don't, and that's what meditation is for, is because you're sitting there and you're quiet, you go, boom, a thought. And then I'm like, okay, and I'm looking at you. Right? I am not you. I am not the thought. I'm just having a look. And then boom, the thought goes, and then boom, another thought. And you're like, okay, I'm not you either. Boom, it goes. So as you go out throughout the day, you're having all of these thoughts and all of these things come through you. But now with an awareness, you can say, okay, register the thought and embody the empowering one, rather than just sending out whatever fear frequency. And that's the opposite of love, is fear. And fear is what holds people, down. And the one other point I was going to talk about what you're saying, shoot, I forget. But it's basically about like your choice. What you don't always get to choose what's going on, outside of your circumstance. But what you always get a choice about is how you respond. And in your response is your creation. And that's it. And as you start to clean up your response, clean up your mental garbage, clean up all that stuff, then you get less of that kind of contrast environment of bullcrap. If you know somebody that gets in fights at the bar all the time, he's probably attracting that. The second he kind of gets over what he's thinking about or the reason for that, he's going to experience it less and less and less. And, if you look at somebody like the Dalai Lama or Thich Nhat Hanh, they have a pretty darn harmonious environment. But if they're met with something that is, anger or greed or something negative, they're going to show love, because in holding and responding with negativity or anger, now you're holding it. Now you're sending the vibration, and then the law of attraction, the universe has to match that. So they're aware of this. And when you become aware of how powerful that is, you can definitely shift your life. So you always get choice in response. Always choose the most powerful and positive perspective you can get when the situation comes in. That's my rant.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
We'll go rant for rant.
My rants have been a little longer. I'll narrow it down.
That's good. Usually mine go longer, so I love it. And the one interesting thing I was going to ask you a question about, so many artists, it's so rare to see an artist that has the ability to create like you create. Like, what kind of person says they're writing 2 novels? Like for me, I just finished writing my first book, and that was a pain in the ass. And as it got closer, I had more and more and more resistance. I'm like, so I'm just in the final stages. But now you're like 2 books. And coming from that mindset, I have the same thing where every day I'm shooting out 1,000 ideas. Every day I've got idea here, idea there. And so to narrow down on one is really challenging. So do you have any, I know we talked about Stephen Pressfield's book. People should read that. But what do? You just sit down, you're like, these are my 4 hours of work, or these are, because it's actually very, very incredible what you can do.
Yeah. One of the things that I've discovered that I enjoy the most is is cluttering my whiteboard with as many things as possible. Okay, for my day. Let's just say my day. So I have 4 massive whiteboards. So each one is for a sole purpose. One of them is for major goals and visions. Another one is for my ingredients, which the ingredients, much like, I posted a video the other day about, baking a cake. You can use the analogy of baking a cake successfully to developing successful outcomes successfully, because essentially all you're doing is using a series of ingredients and you're following a recipe. Your ingredients are the knowledge that you use in whatever job or undertaking you take on, and the recipe is your formula or your strategy that you apply consistently that allows you to receive a cake that is, and it's, like beautiful. It's like a beautiful cake and it's delicious, right? So the second board is for ingredients in the recipe. The third board is the to-do for the day, and the fourth board is for just scribbling randomness, right? So the third board is actually my productivity board, and I write a list of all the things I need to get done in the day. And I make it so full that in order for me to be able to, because the other three boards, I'm not changing them. Those ingredients in that recipe, there's no changing that. That works. Why would I erase that ever? That's permanent, okay? The visions, those are for 2016. I'm not gonna keep adding to them. That's cool. I know what I want. I figured it out. It's solid. The scribbling is, that's just something that it's just for fun. So, I don't use that for anything other than my meditations in the morning. When I visualize in the morning, I run to the board and I wrote down, like yesterday, I wrote down the visualizations of a new custom, bespoke suit getting tailored. I had a visualization of closing a deal. I had like in a boardroom with like four business reps and us closing a deal and, signing off and, celebrating, these visions. And I just run to that board and I write them down. So this third board, I stack it. And because I love writing on these boards so much, because it's everything that's in here. When we first had a conversation, you're like, wow, if that's everything that's in your brain, that's epic, right? It's like, yeah, that's everything that's in my brain, right? So my trick is to erase the content on the whiteboard so that I can make more space for new ideas. So I've been committed to myself to not take on more unless I have completed what I have set to do through my intentions. And that is a practice on its own, because you can very easily erase the whiteboard and add new things. But then you're jeopardizing your integrity. You're jeopardizing the integrity of your company. You're jeopardizing the integrity of your work ethic. You're jeopardizing the integrity of your time. You're jeopardizing the integrity of your energy. And I don't operate on levels of low integrity. I am self-disciplined with my integrity. So for me to remain productive and do all of these things, it does come down to prioritizing, having integrity to my word of what I'm going to accomplish, and then celebrating the fact that I get to move forward knowing that I accomplished these things throughout the day.
Amazing. Yeah. And I think one big tool that you maybe, you're aware of this, I'm sure, but people might like take for granted, is that big dump is a huge brain dump of all of your possibility. So every day it could be something new, but every day you're refining. So many people don't go ahead and ask, what do I want? If I could have my amazing life, what is it? And that's how you're just a machine of like, what could I create? What could I create? Because you have an installed belief system that you can create anything. Yeah. And all of us remain equal, and that's the truth. All of us can create anything. So, when I ask people, it's like, what do you want? And they're like, I've never asked that, and then there's another set of people that's just that they're only asking that. So they're figuring out the how. Okay, so what do I need to do? We're taking action, podcasts, learning, whatever the case is. But then the next day they get up and they ask again and they ask again, because everything changes every single day, and you map it out on this board and then you refine it. And it's such a simple but powerful process. And it allows you to keep your integrity and your alignment to your highest joy, to your highest bliss. And when we were talking about earlier, the faith factor, if you look at any kind of like, out there stuff like Bashar channelings or Esther Hicks, which is law of attraction, or I think even in Think and Grow Rich is the same thing. Don't they say it's like that source? They call it the substance or something, the invisible substance. Is that what they call it?
You're like infinite intelligence?
Yeah. Same thing. So, you're giving it to that, and you're saying, this is what I'm trying to create. And so many people have said, it's like, you got to fake it till you make it. You have to feel like you're, a millionaire or successful, and live in that way, live in that energy, live in that faith, and it responds. And I've heard it said before, it's like, you don't wait for the environment to change. You change first. And in your action, when you act as if you have that thing, the environment will change and not vice versa. And that's where visualization and meditation can get very, very clear, because, you know, when I'm teaching snowboarding or something, you don't know what a double backflip is like just yet. But if you visualize it over and over again, you're going to hardwire your brain and your body to know you can land it. You're going to get to the point where you're like, yes, I know I can land this, and you're going to go do it. And it works the exact same way with manifesting everything that you want. But it starts with sitting down and asking yourself, so what do I want? And don't sell yourself short here. You know, sit and think and give yourself time, because there are people, there are tools to help you create this. But ultimately, it's always up to you. It's up to you to put in the work. It's up to you to overcome your fear. It's up to you to use the whiteboard or whatever strategy that you can find and just bulldoze toward your manifestation that's coming from you to live your highest expression.
I love this work.
Yeah, man. So
I love it. I love thinking, you know, like you're speaking my language here, you know, it's you caught me in the clouds there for a bit. I was like, holy cow, like, what are we actually talking about here? You know?
Love it. Love it. Yeah. And there's tools, you know what I mean? You and I have both studied the tools. For me, I wanted to master the power of the mind. So I was a kid and, you know, trying to punch wood outside and do everything that I saw the martial arts masters do. And it always comes down to the same principles. You got to clear your mind and understand what your mind is and what it connects to. In deep states of meditation, which you don't have to do to understand this, but you then get the knowing of how expansive and infinite the universe really is. You get that experience. You're like, holy sweet mother of God, I have no idea what's going on, but this is one powerful mechanism that I'm a part of. Then you implant your idea into the void, and then you allow it and you believe and you go forward in faith, knowing that it's going to happen. So there are so many tools that we can use to create. And I know that you know a lot of them. I was wondering if you could maybe share like if you had to like give your 10 tools of success or 5, because I know that you're just basically a massive resource of practical tools. So somebody's got an idea, you know, they're moving forward and they say, Marcos, I need your help. What's your ingredients or recipes for me to, you know, do my first album or my first book or, you know, start my own business or whatever the case is?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. Last night I was with a friend of mine and she was really overwhelmed to the point where she started to cry. And we're working side by side and I could see her energy dropped, her face dropped. She was just really upset. And I'm saying, what's going on? You know, no, nothing. What's going on? Tell me. You know, nothing. It's like, well, if you need anything, I'm here. I said, no, nothing. Don't worry about it. She started to cry. And I'm watching her behavior on her computer. And her computer had like 10 screens open. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, she's overwhelmed. And she's got a big list of like 100 things to do that she thought she was going to get through by the end of the night. No chance. So I got her up. I grabbed my markers, grabbed my eraser, took her to the 4th whiteboard, erased all of my stuff. And I said, priorities, list, let's do it. She listed them. And I said, okay, with your priorities now, you're going to learn how to apply something called ASR, Auto Success Reflex, which is much like the reflex that your body and mind are programmed to respond to when you go to the doctors and they hit your knee with the little hammer. What does your knee do? It bounces right back up. You're programmed like that. You are wired like that. You can wire your mind to have that same reflex so that whenever you are challenged or whenever there is a problem, your mind immediately bounces back or creates a solution or looks at this problem as an opportunity. I'm going to teach you this. And she said, great, you know, awesome. Now, obviously, head down, great, awesome, you know, not motivated at all, right?
And I just want to add, yes, like that is such an important thing you just said. You can hardwire your mind and body to create specific responses to bring you closer toward what you desire. Hardwire it into your mind and body. So if you are experiencing not success or failure or poor relationships, it is hardwiring that you can change. So I just wanted to add that teaching point because people will just kind of, yeah, you know, hardwiring. Hardwiring. This is how our minds work. And when we understand that, truly understand it. And it's only when you change your wiring, it's like law of attraction. Like, how do you know Think and Grow Rich works? How do you know, Matt, you're a law of attraction coach. How do you know it works? I'm like, I know it works because I do it all the time. And I just witness amazing, awesome, ridiculous miracles. I can't prove it for you, but if I can give you the principles and you apply them, you can prove it to yourself. And it comes as a result of different wiring. So I just wanted to enthusiastically support that and make it a teaching point and allow you to continue with your wonderful story.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things for me, it's like, let's go off topic a bit, but let's talk about source, not source energy, but source is where you get your information. You go to the library, you go to Harvard, you go to school, they give you these books, they tell you to read them, you study them, you memorize it, then you write a test, and then you apply everything that you learn and you use them in your profession. What makes you think that information is correct? Somebody told you it was, or somebody convinced you, or somebody made you think that it was. And it worked for you because the fulfillment of the areas in your life that you're filling in the gaps is being fulfilled. Those areas are being fulfilled because you applied that knowledge into your life, and now you're living your life by your choice. You didn't question your Harvard teacher. You didn't say, this textbook seems suspicious. You didn't say that. You took it in. You absorbed it because you trusted them. Our philosophy, which is a part of a very massive web of philosophy, it's 25,000 years of knowledge. 500 of the wealthiest minds on the planet studied for over a 20-year period. We're talking about a lot of extensive research that's gone into this work, and this is just a part of the work. So based on my studies, it's credible to me, right? So when people do ask me and they challenge me and they say, how do you know? It's like, it just works for me. Whatever is going to work for you, it's going to work for you. I enjoy living with this mindset, and I consider them to be reminders. If you think about the 17 laws, like a mastermind principle, working with 2 or more people working in harmony towards a goal. Okay, let me ask the listeners this. Well, I'll tell you an example. So the ingredients that I mentioned early on in the interview, the ingredients for me are the 17 laws of success, the principles that are applied to Think and Grow Rich, law of success, etc. Those are the ingredients, which are all a bunch of reminders, really, because I was born with these ingredients. I just never spent enough time harnessing all of them so that I could fully grasp and understand how to apply them. Now I use them as ingredients where it's like a quarter cup of mastermind, a full cup of enthusiasm, half a bowl of golden rule, 2 cups of imagination. This is how I visualize me applying these ingredients into my recipe of success, and I apply it daily, and it's beautiful. Okay, it works for me. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. There is no pressure here. There is no you must. Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. To bring that happiness, truth, and justice into your life without violating the rights of others. So my friend, this is another friend. So I'll finish the first story real quick. We prioritized. I said, show me your list. She gave me her list. It was 100 things. I said, okay, when do you have to finish this by? She said, I have to finish this by tonight. I said, it's not happening. Let's prioritize based on importance. Great. Out of those 100 things, she ended up with 4 things to do that were of utmost importance. Okay, like literally utmost importance that she has 5 days to complete. And she said, if I could finish these 4 things, I would be so happy by Friday. I said, okay. 4 things, 5 work day. That's 1 thing a day that you have to do. 1 thing. That's it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, we prioritized. Then came her how. Again, this is the famous how that we always ask people. I'm going to give you $100 million tomorrow. I'm going to make you $100 million tomorrow. What's the first question you're going to ask me? How? Okay. Well, if you ask how, you're going to kill the dream. Instead of asking how, why don't you ask me, what can I do to help you make sure that we get that $100 million? Or what can I do in my life to allow the process of you helping me do this become a lot easier? Not how. How is subconsciously programmed to make you create doubt. Doubt creates resistance. Resistance creates fear. Fear creates worry. Worry creates anger. Anger creates resentment. It's just this negative spiral of thoughts that are subconsciously programmed through our quote unquote filters that are perceived on our conscious levels of thought. based on how we see things. The world is too big. I can't take it on. The way we hear things. Somebody told me at one point that I wasn't able to do that. The way we touch things, the way we smell things. You know what I mean? Think about that. Come on. Oh, so think about that. Anyways, so my other friend, she's got this wicked brand, and I'm so proud of her. She's building her business and she's doing well, but she's not doing as well as she wants to. And I said, it's because you don't have the ingredients. So I broke it down with her. So to answer your initial question, which if anybody's listening, they remember the initial question.
Nice.
But what do you do? It's like, okay, I apply into every goal or in every scenario of my life. I apply all of the ingredients necessary so that I can receive an outcome. So mastermind. If there is something in my mind or in my business or in my goals that I don't know how to do, I enroll somebody that does know how to do it with me. Not for me, with me. So that as they do it, I'm learning with them. Now it's two people working in harmony. Now, they're going to be compensated. It doesn't always have to be compensated with money. I can compensate them with love. I can compensate them with a talk. I can compensate them with a walk. I can compensate them with a meal. I can compensate them with free tickets to a game. I can do whatever I want to compensate them based on our agreement. There's advantages and benefits to working with people who help you create harmony towards your goals. You're not going to know how to do everything. But when you create that harmony between two minds, consciously and subconsciously working together, you're going to create a third mind. And that's the mastermind. It's going to be the two sources of energy working harmoniously. And there's going to be so much discovery in that process that you're going to develop new circumstances, recipes, strategies, and formulas out of you working with that person. Just the mastermind principle alone can be your solution to your quote unquote how. Okay? How am I going to do this? Okay, mastermind. You don't know how to get, okay. You need more things. You don't know how to build a website. You don't know marketing. You don't know advertising. You don't know web design. You don't know networking. Okay, so get 6 people in your mastermind. Tell them your goal. Enroll them. Get them excited. Figure out how you're going to compensate each of them. Get together twice a week and watch how your goals manifest. It's inevitable as long as you follow the steps. We can go back to desire, faith, and action. It's going to work. It has to work. It is law. You raise this up, you drop it down. It's not going back up. There's a science to it. Just like the law of this philosophy, it is a science. It is a law. It is meant to work that way. That's just one of the philosophies. That's just one of the ingredients. If I want to go deeper, definiteness of purpose. Living with purpose every day. There's a purpose, there's a mission, there's a goal. A goal is the steps that you take along the way. Your mission is your driven idea of how you're going to impact the world. Your purpose is what gets you up every day, that burning desire. Figure that out, right? Where else? Self-confidence, the habit of saving, initiative and leadership, imagination, enthusiasm, self-control, going the extra mile. Just going the extra mile alone. You want to know the best way to get out of your day job? Learn to go the extra mile, okay? Learn to go the extra mile. Do more than what is expected of you than what you're paid for. Do that constantly. Don't do it because you're expecting to receive, acknowledgement. Do it because you're doing it because this is part of you're hardwired, like Matt said. You're hardwired to function this way. Somebody's going to notice. And if somebody doesn't notice, you're going to notice. And you're going to say, I can apply this much work ethic, which is excellent, into my own ideas or into another source of income and be much happier and live much more well off. These are all things, and I can go on and on. Cooperation, like there's so many things. So I guess I should say the final piece to this, the whole thing for the people listening and watching, is figure out your ingredients, okay? You can read a John Maxwell book, Tony Robbins book, Bob Proctor book, Marie Forleo video, Brendan Burchard podcast, seminar, whatever it is, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, whatever it is. If it works for you and it makes sense for you and it makes you feel good to take action on these thoughts, because all we're talking about is thoughts here. If these thoughts work for you, put them in a list, 1/4 cup of imagination, 2 cups of enthusiasm, okay? Use this analogy if you like, and build your recipe. You don't know how to build a recipe? There's a lot of master chefs out there, I'm telling you right now. All you got to do is ask, okay? And they're going to help you. Because people that are rich, wealthy minds that are working for truth, justice, and in service of others, those are the ones that are waiting for somebody to ask them for help, because they're more than happy to be like, you know what, I'm so happy you asked. I've been building this for 25 years and here you go. It's there. It's available to you. I believe it, so I know that I'll get it. Perhaps you don't. And if you don't, shift that paradigm, because it exists. You have the option to think that you're worthy. You have that option. You don't think you're worthy enough? Start hanging around people that do. You don't have people that do? Start searching for people that do. There's a solution to everything, okay? Mindset. Leave it at that.
Beautiful, man. Yes. Woo. Bravo, my friend. Bravo. Love it, dude. You said so much stuff in there that I would like to agree with and acknowledge. And it was so action-packed and power-pointed and tremendous. But it is simple, right? So so you can go and read 10 books, right? But we're talking about thought. And then when you're saying about the Harvard person or whatever, it's like, you're Think and Grow Rich. Well, you're Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's all the same bloody information to get you to tune into yourself, to figure out what the hell you want, and then ultimately just believe you can get it. If you go to like, this is the thing that I want, and I will stop at nothing to get it, you don't need to read a book. I'll pick up one goddamn book and just do it, because the whole universe will just go, just spread like, holy sweet mother of God. You don't got to worry about step 1 through 20, but we want to build up this knowledge to give us the reason of how. We need to, we're trying to mentally formulate the how. Oh, because I got the mastermind, then this is all going to happen. And then this is going to happen. And then, your brain is starting to realize, oh, it is possible now. Oh, if I had just this person, now it's a little bit possible. So now you start to believe it a little bit more. So if you need to go through and believe and get information, get it. But the ultimate understanding is that we can't prove it to you. You got to prove it to yourself, and you are worthy. You are good enough, and you can effing do it. I don't know if I can start on YouTube, but I'd like to say it, but I'll just say F, because everybody has the same power. And it's so important, the company that you keep. If you are around people that, people do want to drag you down. It's kind of sad. So find people that support you, but keep your vision to what you want to create and figure out what the hell your vision is, because we are working with invisible stuff. Think and Grow Rich, law of attraction, meditation in the universe. You gotta go do it. But I've been there. I've popped out of my body and been to crazy places that I don't understand, but I've done it. I have no explanation. I can't like put it in something in hand to you. Like, you just gotta do it. And then you're like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Like, I want you to have some. Like, I would love to give this to you. But you've got to reach out and you've got to take their hand. And in taking it, I think it's not even asking anyone else for help. You're asking yourself to help. I've been going through Krishnamurti book and him and Terrence McKenna, and Krishnamurti is so hilarious. Somebody's asking him, how much should I meditate? And Krishnamurti just goes, why do you want to meditate? And then the guy says, don't you meditate? He's like, yes, I meditate. Why do you want to meditate? And the guy's just like, what? Like, I know, he's like, figure it out for yourself. You are the master. You have all of the ingredients, every single thing. You have infinite intelligence inside of you to create anything you could imagine. You just have to freaking believe it. And all of these are just helpful tools and helpful people to encourage you and give you that belief that you're trying to find within yourself. But remember, you are the master. You can create it. You can do it. The people, the tools, the information is all out there. You've just got to now open your gaze to that and open your heart to that and live in love and not fear.
Exactly.
My rant.
And that's the basic stuff. Like, these are the basics. It sounds like so much, but really, it's really simple. Just be. Like, a lot of people ask, oh, how do you become? It's like, become, you want to, okay, first you think, then you do, then you become. Okay, think what you are, not what you aspire to be. That's number one. Think what you are. You're not what you are that you're unhappy with. Think what you are at your highest, greatest aspiration, because you are that as well. You may not live it, but you may, even if there's like a dose of belief in you that makes you think that you're worthy of being that which you aspire to be, then you already are, okay? The only thing that's gonna change is your thoughts. It's just your thoughts. They're gonna change, okay? You're gonna have more of those thoughts, more of those aspirations quickly generated so that you can do, okay? So This is the supreme secret. This is what they don't tell you in the law of attraction videos, okay? Or the secret, okay? First you think, then you do, then you become. First you think what you are. You live in that. And whatever it takes for you to convince and really channel these thoughts so that negative sources and outside influences are not penetrating, okay, your conscious and subconscious mind and your filters, do that. Think that. Then do it. How do you do it? Take action, okay, on how to develop this lifestyle of who it is that you aspire to be. And then become. But out of the word become, the most important word, okay? And I want you to check this out. This is going to be a small but big message. Out of becoming, when you become, the secret word, okay, is the word be, okay? Be. To be is to be present. So not someday I'm going to be a millionaire. Someday I'm going to get better. Someday. No. Present. Because now is what's going to shape your thoughts and the life around you so that later you can be conditioned to live in those beliefs. Okay? The word become, be present. Come, attract. Present, attract. Be, belief. The be is the now. Think, do, become. Think, do, become what you are. Okay? First we think, then we do, then we become what we are. That's the phrase. That's the supreme secret. I could drop the mic right now and you can go and apply that and your life will be incredible. I promise.
Yes, I 100% agree. It's yes, it's the same. So to break it down so people's brains can handle it, when you are and you be, so all you ever have is the present moment, past and future. It's non-existent. All you get is to be here now, being. That is your resonance that the universe is responding to, and you're creating your reality in every single second. And it is a reflection and mirror of you. So if you do not like your reality, it's because you've chosen a shite mirror and you got to clean up your thinking. Now, if you want to create a new reality, first you got to picture what you want to be. And then in picturing what you want to be, then you are formulating new thoughts, new beliefs, new circuitry in the mind, new vibrations, new all that kind of fun, new age, jazzy type stuff. But when you be it and you live it and you're like, yes, this is what I am becoming, now you embody that vibration, you embody that that thing that you want, and then the universe responds and matches your environment. Not before you become it, not after you become it. When you embody it, then it matches. Not environments like, here's your $1 million. Oh, yay, now I feel like a millionaire. Those people lose all their money because they never switched their vibration. So many people manifested tons of money. And another note on money is like some people manifest a bunch of money and they're not happy because they don't know what the hell they want. So figure out what you want and you'll be happy with a little bit of money. And then knowing from your passion, using the exact same laws, that you can create infinite abundance from that love place, from the source of what you are. But it is in being it, figuring out what the heck you want to be. Jim Carrey went and he used to, visualize $1 million check at the Hollywood sign, and then he would feel it. He talks about fake it until you make it. And that's what that whole thing is. Fake it until you make it. And then the environment will respond. We don't even live in the reality we think we live in. And we're imagining that it's like some sort of weird holographic paradigm that is matching our frequency of thoughts. But we think it's so real and dire, and it has to feel that way. But when you master this like dimensional law from this stuff that might seem a bit out there, when you do it, then you get a matching environment circumstance. You get more harmony, more abundance, more source. So I'm 100% with you 100% of the way.
Are you ready? I'm coming at you. I got 4 things lined up. You ready?
Okay, good. Yes. I'm so ready. Like, yes.
Okay, number one.
Dish them out.
Number one, out of the being thing to become. So so there's something that you learn in the Think and Grow Rich course, which is called self-image. Before you learn the philosophy, you got to have a strong self-image. You ever see that picture of the cat looking in the mirror? He sees a lion.
Oh yeah. I love that one.
Okay, so that image is actually backwards, you know, because what we actually are, think, do, become what we are. We are the lion already, but the challenge is we look in the mirror and we see a little cat.
That's such a wicked analogy. That's such a wicked analogy. It's so true. Yes.
We are the lion already, but we look into the mirror and we see a little cat. No. So think, do, become, the being in the present, your self-image, which is the mental and spiritual concept of yourself, okay, has to be strong. Has to be strong in order for you to live into that. We can call it vibration. That vibration that keeps you resonating at a high frequency of love and abundance is because you are strong. Beer belly or not, you are still amazing. Okay?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Okay? Just because you're not chiseled, it doesn't mean you're not great. That's a mental concept of yourself. That's your self-image. You've been programmed, and I'm going to go back. I love how it all ties together. Consciously, you've seen somebody rich and good-looking and chiseled, and that's made you believe that you had to be rich and good-looking and chiseled in order to be successful. At some point in your life, you probably programmed yourself to believe that. Consciously, goes through your filter. I'm not rich, good-looking, or chiseled, so I'm not successful. Meanwhile, you're probably a gem of a human being. You probably have the kindest heart. You probably have the sweetest intentions, and you're probably brilliant. And you completely sabotaged yourself because consciously you perceived the world around you to be better than you, and you sent a subconscious message through your filter. Come on. Self-image, number one. Fake it till you make it, cancel that. Faith it till you make it. Faith it till you make it.
Love it.
Okay?
Yes.
Eliminate the fear, the doubt, and the suspicion, and just give it the faith. Because if you are resonating, okay, if you are living, if you are acting, if you are being in the mindset and the being of your physical body and realm in that dimension right now, if you are being that and you are applying the applied faith principles, which just read the chapter in Think and Grow Rich, you'll learn all about it. Okay? Faith is your direct access to infinite intelligence. But you can't send canceling thoughts to your infinite intelligence. Consciously, you can't say, but he has more money than me, but she is better looking than me, but it doesn't work. The signals are interrupted, okay? Whether you like it or not, the reality is we're on a planet in a galaxy right now that is made up of things that we cannot understand, okay? But we can perceive to understand enough that scientifically and logically and by nature's laws, it tends to work out. As humans, we've come a long way. We've figured a little bit out. These basics that we're talking about, it starts at the basics of just thought, okay? You have direct communication with the universe and how it responds to you. Like, oh, the universe, what's the universe? Okay, the universe is the language that speaks through the internalization of how you feel. That is the universe. The one song of how your body is connecting and communicating with source. What is source? You don't know. I don't know. I really don't care. I don't care. Whatever it is, it's beautiful. And it gives me this ability to be now, thinking, living, breathing, acting, giving, sharing, experiencing. This source, whatever it was that put me here, it gave me this power. And I've learned how to tap into that power. So now everything that I think is chosen by me, subconsciously or consciously, to be abundant for me. So I can smile into this camera confidently and say, and if you want to label this on your YouTube, Matt, label this, you can name it this, because there's a lot of people who are probably going to be watching this and be like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Okay? You can label it this. Interview with Marcos Mendosa. Quote, here's how I've come to understand it. End quote. That's it. This exchange of knowledge and experience between Matt and I, it's just the way that we've come to understand how we function in the world. Your way of functioning doesn't make you right, and it doesn't make me wrong. It's just your way of functioning. And I applaud you for it, whatever it is. As long as there's truth, justice and you're not violating the rights of others, I applaud you for it. But it's just the way that we've come to understand it. So without starting to create doubt about what it is that we're talking about, or create fear, or any of these things, just interpret the intentions behind our conversation that you've gotten the opportunity to eavesdrop on, okay, as an opportunity for you to expand your mind. And it's all love, and it's all beautiful, and it's all great. And that's the beauty of infinite intelligence. I don't know where this stuff's coming from. I spoke more brilliance today than I have in all my seminars combined, because I'm tapped in to Matt's intentions, right? Matt sends me an ability, which is to be my best self. He, although he's in France and I'm in Toronto, he gives me the ability to be my best self. His energy, his love, his encouragement gives me the ability to tap into all that is my greatness. So I'm coming up, I didn't even know I know this much about this stuff, which I don't really know anything. This is just how I've come to understand it, right? So here's how I've come to understand it. Faith until you make it, self-image, and there was one more thing, I forget, but those are the three. Let's just keep it as a triangle there.
Perfect, man. Dude, that was so much awesomeness that you shared, and man, what a conversation. I love you, brother. Like, thank you so much. I would love to go forever. I think we should definitely do this again, man. You have so much wisdom and passion and creativity and knowledge and goodness and awareness and acceptance and all of that stuff, man. So I just, I want to thank you for, being who you are and spreading love and forging the path and helping others, encouraging. And that's really what we're talking about, is encouraging and helping. And that's it. And let everybody do it their way. It's just that I found a way to live in peace and harmony. You found a way to live in peace and harmony and joy. You might have a rockier path to get there, but we hope that you get there. And we're just offering information that's worked for us to help you get there. And, we want you on the team. We want you full of bliss and joy. So I'm definitely going to have to get you back on here. I just wanted to ask, how can people find out more about you? And, where can they connect if they want to, reach out and say hi?
Yeah, just Facebook is the ultimate source right now, Marcos Mendoza. And that's the best way. I'm usually on Facebook. There's a lot of messages coming in, so I try to respond as often as I can. So that would be the best way, just Marcos Mendoza.
Okay, brother. Well, thank you so much for your time, man. This conversation was a real friggin' treat, dude. I enjoyed it. I hope we get to do it again. And for all of you out there, if you liked the episode, definitely share it. Did you want to say something?
No, I'm just.
Okay. So if you liked the episode, Marco shared so much awesome information. Share it, comment, let us know that you watched it. Stay positive, find your bliss, spread love, live your dreams. And thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time.
See ya.